What is going on, people? What is going on? How we doing today? How we doing today? How we doing today? It is Monday, and that means it's another week of talking sports with the I.O.W. sports crew. Hey, man, I'm your man, Wildcard Marn. Thank you for tuning in. It is episode 368. Yes, 368. And, hey, I got a jam-packed show for you guys to talk about. Of course, we'll preview tonight's Monday Night Football doubleheader. All right. You got Jacksonville, Buffalo, Washington, Cincinnati. We'll discuss both of those games from Monday Night Football. We'll definitely have a conversation about that. We will also recap some of the action already in week 3 of the NFL. You know, we got to talk some football. But I want to start here, folks. I want to start here. I know we're in the midst of, NFL week 3. We're in the midst of right now, NCAA football is in full throttle. Things are getting spicy in the NCAA world. Okay. There's about 6 games left in Major League Baseball regular season. So we're going to get close to Major League Baseball playoffs in just a second. But I want to have this conversation because I am a fan of the WNBA. All right. I love what Angel Reese. I love what Caitlin Clark. I love what Rakia Jackson, at one point Cameron Brink before she got hurt. I love what that rookie class of 2024 brought to the WNBA. I loved it all. Love the fact that Asia Wilson is still showing how dominant she is, how great she is as he wins yet another MVP trophy. All right. I love the WNBA. Been watching it since its inception, about 27 years now, 28, 26, 27, around there. Since the WNBA has been a thing. And look, did anybody notice that the WNBA playoffs happened yesterday? Anybody? Did anybody notice? And this is coming from a guy that I watched a good amount of WNBA. And I know a lot of people will say, it's just because you're a football fan. It's not just because I'm a football fan. I am a sports fan. Do I love football? Probably more than other sports? Yes. But here's where I'm at with WNBA. WNBA, I think you did yourself a huge disservice having your playoffs trying to go one-on-one with the NFL. I think you did terrible. I think you did a terrible job in marketing. You did a terrible job in marketing. You did a terrible job in trying to promote your sport. You did a terrible job. You couldn't avoid that? There's no way at all that you could have avoided going against NFL. Don't tell me you couldn't. You couldn't pick a day to start your playoffs on a day where the sports world is kind of been more in your favor. Now, maybe you should have started it on Friday. It's very limited college football games going on. You can compete with the Major League Baseball. I think you can. I think you can compete with Major League Baseball. Saturday. Maybe at certain times of college football day, you might have been able to sneak in and steal some viewers, depending on the matchup or how the matchup went. You probably could have stole some viewers from NCAA. I don't think you would have overtaken the ratings. I don't think you would have dominated the ratings on a Saturday, but you probably could have had a chance to steal some viewers, possibly. Just saying. But what baffles me, what absolutely baffles me is why would you go up against a juggernaut in ratings like the NFL on their day, Sunday? of all days? Sunday? Or why not just wait? Why not just wait? Guess what you could have done? You could go up, you can have Tuesday all to yourself. The Major League Baseball world is starting to, regular season starting to wind down. But like I said, I think you compete with MLB. I think you can compete with Major League Baseball in ratings. Why not go on a Tuesday? Why not go on a Tuesday, huh? Or better yet, a Wednesday. You could have dominated the ratings on a Wednesday. Hell, the way that the matchups, look, the matchups on Thursday for NFL, they haven't been great. You probably could have stole some viewership from Thursday night primes game. That Jets and Patriots game was putrid. It was trash. It was disgusting. Only reason why I watched it is because I have a show, a podcast that I actually got to review and talk about the game. But it was not fun to watch. WNBA, you could have competed with their Patriots-Jets game. You might be able to compete with this Thursday's game. The Giants are on TV. You could possibly compete with that. My main point, WNBA, is that this has been the issue with you guys since the beginning of WNBA, is trying to market your product wisely, smartly, using your common sense. All right? Yes, you've gotten more viewership this year due to the fact of some players getting added to the league, whether it's Caitlin Clark injuries or whatever rookie you want to put the reason why you watch more WNBA this year. It doesn't matter. You watch more WNBA this year. You got the viewership, the stands, more people in the stands. That's good. But what I'm saying is if you want to consistently be in that spot, consistently be in a place that you can create more revenue for your product, because more people are watching on a consistent basis, more people are going to the games on a consistent basis, you have to do certain things that absolutely make sense. Going against the NFL made zero sense. Made absolutely no sense. Absolutely terrible idea. I thought you literally shot yourselves in the foot. All right. I really thought you literally shot yourselves in the total foot and did yourselves a huge disservice by not marketing your product properly. How do you expect your product to flourish and blossom and at some point be a respective sports entertainment league like the rest of them? You want to be on the same level as the NBA? Well, guess what? You got to start making smarter moves that helps these young ladies and veteran ladies be seen on a consistent basis. I mean, I'm just being honest, y'all. I mean, literally, you put yourselves up against a full deck. So on Sunday, there's the 1 o'clock slot. All right. There's the 1 o'clock slot in the Eastern time, 12 o'clock my time on the Central. That's when the football starts. And you got the 4 o'clock slot. All right. That's 3 o'clock my time. All right. And you literally have a slot. There's no wiggle room. All right. If you try to go on ahead of that, you might not get the viewership because, one, people are probably getting ready for tailgating, football parties, or they're out running errands. All right. Because they're out running errands right now is because they want to get home to watch the football games. Because when they get home, they just want to sit down, relax, chill, and have nothing else to worry about. And just focus on watching football on Sundays. So it's really no time for you to really put WNBA games on a Sunday. Because after the 1 o'clock slot, after the 4 o'clock slot, you got the 8 o'clock prime time Sunday night game, 7 o'clock my time in the Central. That's literally a whole day of football that is being shown. Where is your spot to put a WNBA playoff game and thinking you're actually going to get viewership on a Sunday? Oh, there isn't one. There's not a slot. There's not a slot. There's absolutely not a slot for you to think that you're going to steal viewership from the NFL. It's just, to me, it's not logical. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're not doing those ladies who are playing their ass off a service. You want to talk about growing the WNBA game? You want to talk about growing the women's sports game of basketball? Going up against the NFL doesn't help you. I don't care how diehard of a WNBA fan you are. It's not enough of you. I'm a big fan of WNBA, but guess what? I watch a lot of football, and I did not see now one playoff game yesterday because I was too focused on NFL. It was just impossible to think that you were going to be able to watch WNBA in NFL at the same time. Because here's my thing. I want to talk WNBA playoffs because I'm excited about it, but you didn't help me out as a consumer. I had to watch highlights on YouTube. Now, granted, WNBA, I'm pretty sure your YouTube numbers look good because a lot of people were like me. It's like, well, damn, I've been watching football all day. I forgot about the playoffs. Let me go check the highlights. I can go to YouTube. I'm pretty sure your YouTube numbers do good. They look good. That's fine. Well, what about your viewership, the actual TV? There's no way those viewerships were good. And that was even with the Caitlin Clark playing yesterday. All right? So looking at the scores, 69-83, 69-93. The only probably games that were competitive, Mercury versus the Lynx, 95. Sorry, y'all. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, okay. Now that the alarm is gone. But 95-102, Mercury and Lynx, 67-78, Aces in the Storm. So those are probably the only two games that was relatively competitive, and I couldn't even see them because I was focused on other things. I was focused on NFL. It was a great game, Sunday night, Chiefs and Falcons. There were some games in the 4 o'clock slot that people couldn't wait to see. Cowboys were on at 4 o'clock. Everybody had to check the Cowboys, whether you like them or hate them. You had to check them out. 1 o'clock slot. I mean, all games all throughout the 1 o'clock slot that have some storyline or something to market that football game. All right? But where exactly in that day were you going to find anything like any time slot that you're going to put anything WNBA playoffs that's going to draw anybody's attention away from NFL? I don't think it's possible. It just didn't make any sense. And you did yourself a huge disservice. You did those ladies a huge disservice. You did nothing to garner more viewership. You did nothing to gain more viewers. You did absolutely nothing, WNBA, to steal viewers away from the NFL. And all this is just based off of just common sense. I don't have any numbers with me. This is just common sense, folks. This is just putting 1 and 1 together to equal 2. To me, this is simple mathematics. WNBA doesn't garner the numbers like NFL. That's a fact. All right? WNBA will not be able to maximize the same type of viewership that NFL does. That's a fact. At least not right now. But if you want to grow your sport and you want to be on that level at some point in time as the NFL, you can't shoot yourselves in the foot by trying to take that little David that you got against a Goliath like that. More times than not, David don't always win that fight. All right? You are not the 1 out of 10 chances that won that fight. It just wasn't going to happen. Do better. Do better, WNBA. I mean, we've had this conversation on the sports show many a times. Why have y'all not marketed just your product better? It baffles me. It absolutely baffles me. But as we talk about the NFL on that coin, they the other side of that coin of the WNBA losing viewership. Hey, we got to talk about it. Shout out to my man A.W. How much did the refs get paid to make that interference call at the end of the KC Chiefs game? Yeah, I know you're joking, A.W, but this doesn't bother me as a Chiefs fan when all this crap gets brought up, okay? Because I'm just going to say this. The fact of the matter is officiating in the NFL more times than not is atrocious, all right? And for those who don't watch Chiefs games, you're not fans of the Chiefs or the fan of their the opponent that the Chiefs play. They don't watch Chiefs games on a regular basis. And the only time they get exposed to a Chiefs game is when they're in prime time, all right? Like they were last night. You're in that 4 o'clock slot, that's America's game, or in the Super Bowl, all right? And this is not me gloating. This is just facts. So if you're not exposed to a lot of Chiefs games, you know, look, they're favoring the Chiefs. All right. Can we talk football? Let's talk football. All right. Let's talk actual football. All right. If you watch that whole game, there were so many calls that were missed on both sides. All right. The refs were atrocious in that Chiefs Falcons game. They were atrocious. All right. They were bad. They were bad. They missed calls for the Falcons. They missed calls for the Chiefs. They made calls that sometimes just didn't make sense. All right. Might have been a couple of makeup calls, but let's be honest. If we're talking actual football, the refs were bad in that game. They were absolutely bad in that game. All right. They missed calls on both sides. But the fact of the matter is that people are going to focus on that play. You're going to focus on that play. You're not going to focus on all the other missed calls that were missed. You're only going to focus on that play because that play happened in the fourth quarter. All right? Mind you that there were other calls that were made against the Chiefs in that same fourth quarter after that missed call that were questionable, very questionable. All right? So if we're talking football, all right, let's just talk about the officiating was just bad overall. Well, you're not going to put the loss for the Falcons on the refs. And this is what really separates people who are talking football and people who just don't like the Chiefs. All right. This is the conversation right here that separates football people and people who are just haters. All right. The fact of the matter is, you can't put that loss on the refs for the Falcons because, yes, I agree. It was pass interference. I'm a Chiefs fan. I can say that was pass interference, but it was a missed call. But it's not the reason why they lost. All right? The fact of the matter is, there were still 7 minutes and 18 seconds left in the game. Raheem Morris could have went for a field goal. They were only down 5 points at that point of that missed call. They was only down 5 points. 7 minutes and 18 seconds left in the game. If you kick the field goal, do your math, you're only down 2 points. You know what happened when the Chiefs got the ball? They went 3 and out. Now you got the ball again, and you drive it, and you got in the red zone again, and you decided to go for it on 4th down. Had you kicked that field goal the first time after the missed call, you're only down 2. All you got to do is get a field goal. See, people need to talk football and stop being in their emotions. I know A to Z, you're joking, and it's all good. But we just have to have this conversation that people need to start talking football and not speaking with the emotions and borderline being haters. Fact of the matter is that Raheem Morris chose to go for it on that 4th down after the missed call. They were in the red zone. They were well within field goal range. Their kicker, Young Woku, I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but he's a pretty accurate kicker. He would have made that field goal. You go and you get the 3 and out on the Chiefs offense. Patrick Mahomes did not have a fantastic game last night. He did not play a great game. So you get the 3 and out and you get back in the red zone again. And then you run an outside zone, which the Chiefs has been shutting that run play down all game. The refs didn't make the Falcons lose 3 yards on 4th and 1. The refs didn't make Raheem Morris chose not to take the points after the missed call. The refs did not make those decisions down the stretch that cost the Falcons that football game. As fans, you can't keep feeding into that bullshit narrative that referees cost teams football plays. There are 60 minutes in a game, and if you make a lot more mistakes in those 60 minutes than your opponent, more times than not, you will lose the game. If you make poor decisions, player-wise, coaches-wise, more than your opponent, 9 times out of 10, you will lose the game. The officiating was terrible in that game on both sides of the football, on both sides for both teams. Terrible calls, terrible non-calls. It was bad all around. But nobody will ever, especially those who go on Twitter with their fingers, go on Instagram with their damn Instagram fingers, speaking with and typing with emotions and not talking football. If we talk football, the refs did not cost the Falcons that game. Talk football. Don't talk with emotions. As fans, we got to get better with this crap. As analysts, I see with analysts doing the same thing, talking like fans emotionally, which is crazy. Come on now. Talk football. Don't talk emotions. If their game is so rigged, then stop watching the product. But everybody bitches and moans and complains about, oh, the NFL is rigged, but the ratings don't show that you that mad. Because every week the ratings keep going up. Every week the revenue for the NFL continues to go up. So you're not that pissed off. Or maybe you're mad because your parlay didn't come through. Huh? Is that what it is? You're mad because your over-under got blown up. You thought you was about to pay that light bill on that bet. Is that what it is? Let's find the real reason why people can't talk football without the emotions being a part of it and making up some BS narratives. That's all. Glad we had that conversation, folks. Well, let's get into some NFL action from week 3. Hey, I don't know what to think of this, y'all. I know what people are gonna say. Oh, see, Bryce Young, it's him. It's him. Andy Dalton comes in, win the game. Let's slow it down, folks. Let's slow it down. Trust me. Winning one game against the Raiders is not nothing to brag about. Whoop-de-doo. That actually says more about the Raiders and the fact that they lost that game than it actually does about the Panthers. The fact that the Raiders lost that game says a lot more to me than the Panthers actually winning that game. Because now I'm looking at the Raiders, I'm like, okay, well, you supposed to have the more talented roster. You're supposed to have the more, I guess, intelligent coach. But there's something going on there. I think there's something going on. There has to be something going on. Because how do you lose that game? Ain't no way that the Panthers all of a sudden, yeah, man, let's win it. Let's play ball. Let's get it popping. We are so much better. It was Bryce Young. No, I think they're still a crappy ass team. I still think they're a crappy ass team. but somehow they play better against the Raiders. So for me, my common sense says it's something about the Raiders. And there might be something to it because Antonio Pierce had some interesting comments.
The team just didn't.
No, they didn't. I think as the game went on, I don't think it was a team. I think there was definitely some individuals that made business decisions, and we'll make business decisions going forward as well.
Let's play that again. Because I want y'all to hear the question that was asked, and I want y'all to hear Antonio Pierce's response.
The team just didn't seem to show up tonight.
No, they didn't. I think as the game went on, I don't think it was a team. I think there was definitely some individuals that made business decisions, and we'll make business decisions going forward as well.
What? Come on now. That says something more about the Raiders than it does the Panthers. Your head coach admitted that the team didn't show up because individuals was making business decisions. And they, as a team, him as a coach is going to make business decisions as well. So somebody's about to get benched. Somebody about to lose some playing time. So, hey, congratulations, Carolina Panthers fans. You will not make history this year of being the first team to go 0-17 like I thought you would. What we freaking do. Congratulations. But listen to Antonio Pierce. It was more the Raiders than it was the Panthers. Call me a hater. I don't care. I don't care. Just my common sense kicking in. That says more about the Raiders losing that game than it does about the Panthers winning that game. Because how I'm seeing it, the Raiders got some issues in-house they got to worry about. Because if you got individuals making what they call it, business decisions, they're not about the team. They're not about what works for the Raiders. They're vested in their solo interest, what works for them. And I've been on the football team. That don't work. If you got interest only vested in for you and yourself, that doesn't bode well for the team aspect. That means there's some fraction, there's some friction, there's something going on that right now ain't getting leaked out to the public. But I bet you at some point in time it will. Because eventually they all do. Eventually everything like this gets out to the public. So y'all keep your eyes peeled for that. There's going to be something coming out in the near future about the Raiders having issues and why they having issues. Because that's crazy. I don't care what nobody say. You don't lose to the Panthers. That one win does not change the fact that they are still a horrible team. Them putting in Andy Dalton doesn't change the fact of nothing. It don't change nothing. It don't. Chargers, Steelers. I told y'all, hold the phone on the Chargers. Y'all, a lot of people were ready to crown them. Oh, they're 2-0. The defense. J.K. Dobbins is running the ball. I will give J.K. Dobbins his credit. He has looked phenomenal for these first few weeks of the NFL season. I love the story. I love him. I love what he's had to deal with. He's had some consecutive years of dealing with some severe injuries. It has taken time and playing from his career, and he's managed to bounce back so far. Love what J.K. Dobbins is doing. Great story. But people were ready to crown Jim Harbaugh. They were ready to crown him. They see, look, he got the Chargers playing. And sure enough, I kept telling people, just wait. They are an injury or few away from being very mediocre again. And sure enough, Justin Herbert gets hurt in this game. He actually came in hurt. He has a high ankle sprain, and guess what? Those things take time to heal. They take time. I don't know if they got time for let him heal. Joey Bosa gets hurt. They got out-muscled and out-beat up at their own game by the Pittsburgh Steelers because they play that same style of football too. They play rough and tough football too, and they out-puff the Chargers. Well, let's look at this from the Steelers side. I said it last week. I say it again. Mike Tomlin, kill the noise. And what I mean by that is, as in kill the noise, go ahead and just make Justin Fields the starter until further notice. Just make him the starting quarterback until he absolutely has bombed or gets injured, then put in Russ. Because obviously Russ isn't ready to play yet. He's been dealing with a calf injury. All right. But even when he is healthy, just go ahead and kill the noise. Make sure that you got your locker room, on the same page and saying, hey, man, we're going to ride with Justin. Ride with us. Let's get behind them, support them, and we're going to ride with Justin. Keep it. Just kill the noise. Kill it. Kill the noise. Next game, Texans and Vikings. Man. Surprise, 3-0 team of all teams, but they are legit. Is the Minnesota Vikings. Man, are they legit? They're legit. One thing about the Vikings that we have to absolutely talk about is we got to talk about how great Brian Flores has been as their defensive coordinator. He spoke up a few years ago about discrimination against minorities in the NFL when it comes to head coaching job. They tried to blackball him. He's only good enough to be a defensive coordinator. He's doing a phenomenal job as defensive coordinator because he's brought something to the Minnesota Vikings that they needed the past 2 years. He's brought continuity and consistency on the defensive side. They were a solid defensive team last year, and they're getting better this year on the defensive side of the ball with him as the DC. There's no bones about it. Does he deserve another head coaching job? I absolutely think he does. Will he get it? That's the actual question that needs to get answered by the NFL. Not by me, not by him, not by anybody else. It needs to be answered by the 31 owners in the NFL if he, Brian Flores, will ever get another opportunity at a head coaching job. That's not for me to speculate on. I would say he deserves another headshot because we see this time and time again. The hottest defensive coordinator, the hottest offensive coordinator get head coaching jobs a year later. It happens every year. Right now, he is the hottest DC right now. I don't see it changing anytime soon, barring injuries for the Vikings. Why would he not get another opportunity to be a head coach? Well, we also got to speak about Sam Darnold's been playing great offense. He went up against a good Texas defense. Shredded him. Well, he didn't really shred him. He shredded him where it matters. 4 touchdowns. All right? He shredded him where it matters. Touchdown-wise. 4 touchdowns. No interceptions. That's what you'd like to hear when you talk about Sam Darnold. No turnovers. And he did his thing. All right? Did his thing. And that's a good Houston team. But Brian Flores did his job on getting that defense ready. Got 2 interceptions on CJ Stroud. So much that they end up putting in Davis Mills. All right. They couldn't get the run going. They couldn't get I know Stephon Diggs gets his 10 catches, 94 yards, but for the most part, they were not able to get the receiving game running when it mattered. When it mattered, as I emphasize that. I know as a team they got 300 plus receiving yards, 307, but when it mattered, they couldn't get nothing going. Vikings, man, it's not a shoe-in for Detroit in that North right now. It's not a shoe-in for Detroit. Right now, Minnesota has a 1-game lead on them. Packers are right behind them at 2-1 with the Lions. The NFC North is going to get the 3 teams. That 4th team is trash. It's going to get real competitive for 3 teams in the NFC North. Eagles Saints. Eagles get an ugly victory. Still, hey, I'm just gonna say it. Giants fumbled the bag. You might look a little different with Saquon. Ever since he's worn the Eagles uniform, it looks like he can't stay out the end zone. Look like he can't stay out the end zone. I know he had to drop pass Monday night against the Falcons last Monday. You know, contributed to the loss. It wasn't all on him. But he got to catch that football. Way to bounce back. Saints, I guess Derek Carr came back down to earth. Is that what that was? Is that what that was? Maybe it's just a little bit of fool's gold. Maybe. Possibly. Vic Fangio figured him out, but also Vic Fangio had previous knowledge when he was a head coach of the Broncos. So he's game planned for Derek Carr before, seen him before. So I'm not surprised that he was able to figure him out and did what they did. A surprise of week 3. I did not see the Broncos putting up 26 points and beating the Buccaneers 26-7. I did not see that. Maybe the clock has struck midnight and Baker Mayfield, just like Derek Carr, came back down to earth because he looked very, very Baker Mayfield-ish yesterday against the Broncos. But hey, give the Broncos credit. I know Bo Nix hasn't overly looked impressive, but he's also made plays when it matters. He's definitely been getting into the end zone on the ground. Got to find a way to get there in the end zone through the air with his arm. But they made more plays and less mistakes in Tampa Bay yesterday. That's why they won. So give them credit. Packers and Titans. Woo, Titans are a bad team. This is called what it is. Titans are a bad team. No surprise that they're 0-3. No surprise that Will Levis continues to struggle. No surprise. I had question marks about the guy coming in because the year before they drafted Malik Willis. And shout out to Malik Willis for not, he didn't count his own self out. He balled yesterday against his former team in that stadium. 13 of 19. I know he only threw for 202, but a touchdown, no interception. All right? No interception, no fumbles. He rushes for another 73 yards on 6 carries for a TD. So he has 2 total TDs, balled out, got the ball where it mattered. All right? The numbers aren't wow. Okay, they don't got to be wow, but he was effective. Down to the end zone twice. He helped his current team beat the former team that drafted him and gave up on him. I don't care what you say. The Titans thought that let's roll with Will. How's that working out for you? Ain't been looking so good. The Browns. Hey, shout out to my man Bobby G. Hey, I love you, bro. But you better talk with your Browns, man. How you at home and you got the better roster? All right. What's up with the running game? That's been the Browns' bread and butter. It's the running game. They couldn't get it going yesterday. And it changed the complex of their game because when you didn't get the running game going, the passing game was mediocre at best. But you lose to a Giants team. And Malik Neighbors, I guess it really don't matter how good or not Daniel Jones is. He's going to get his numbers. Got into the end zone twice yesterday. Malik Neighbors, I just think he's like that. Malik Neighbors did his thing yesterday. Something special to see. Bears Colts, man, whew. My goodness. Was that a sloppy game between the quarterbacks? That was a sloppy game between the quarterbacks. I mean, both of those fellas throwing 2 interceptions. Luckily, Caleb Williams was actually able to get into the end zone. He also lost a fumble with those 2 interceptions. I mean, that was ugh. That was some bad quarterbacking yesterday. From the second year Anthony Richardson and the rookie Caleb Williams. That just wasn't good football. All right. Luckily, and I kind of knew that there was going to be a more defensive game because both of the defenses I think are relatively good. Chicago's Bears defense is more better than I thought it was going to be, and same with the Colts. 2 solid defenses. So I'm not surprised that it was a more defensive game. But that just wasn't pretty. That just was not pretty at the quarterback position. It was that was bad to watch. Bad to watch. Dolphins and Seahawks. Hey, I'm just gonna say it. Last week I saw a take from Chase Daniel, former Mizzou Tiger. That's right, MIZZOU. He's on the facility on FS1, and he made a take. He said there needs to be a 3-team trade. Send Bryce Young to LA, send Matthew Stafford to Miami, send Carolina picks from either team. I've been sipping on that Kool-Aid ever since because I think he has a point. And Dolphins general manager Chris Greer, he not only does he need the Kool-Aid, he needed like a big gulp, like a big old styrofoam cup of that Kool-Aid that Chase Daniel was trying to sell, and he needs to be on the phone immediately. Because Skylar Thompson ain't it. He's not it. All right? Your options at quarterback are really limited. But here's my thing. You didn't address this issue 2 years ago when the first concussion situation happened with Tua, which you should have. Because you play a violent sport, a very physical sport, that the chances of him getting more concussions are very high. You didn't do nothing. Then you went into the next year and you rolled with Tua. Hey, you stayed healthy. So you didn't think nothing of it. Go get more help just in case. Nope. You say, now we're gonna roll with Tua again. You come into this year, give him the money. Lo and behold, 2 weeks in, he gets the injury, gets another concussion, but you failed to get your team prepared just in case. Insurance. It's called insurance. You failed to get insurance at the quarterback position 2 years ago when Tua's first concussion situations happened. You failed your team, Chris Greer. And now you're stuck with your team floundering right now because you have absolutely nothing at quarterback without Tua Tagovailoa. You have absolutely nothing. That team is going to go nowhere. It's going to go down in the shitter the more that you neglect addressing your insurance at the quarterback position now that you're without Tua Tagovailoa. You need to call the Rams about Matthew Stafford. You need to do it. You need to take Chase Daniel advice about doing that 3-team trade with Matthew Stafford coming to Miami, Bryce Young going to LA, and the Panthers receiving draft picks. Or whichever way. I don't care. Make a decision. You got to address your quarterback room immediately. Because those weapons that you got, that you both just gave money to, you just gave Jalen Waddle a contract. You're just going to be shoving out money to him. You gave a Tyreek Hill a reworked contract. You're just going to start shoving out money to him because they are going to be null and void because you don't have a quarterback properly enough in the building to get them the football. Dolphins are in trouble. Seahawks only too bad. Looks like Geno is going back to 2 years ago when he told the world that he didn't write him back, but it looks like he's getting back to 2 years performance and not last year's performance, which bodes well for the Vikings. DK Metcalf so far is having a great season. Got to get Tyler Lockett more involved. Jackson Smith Najigba, get him more consistent on having those good games. Get Kenneth Walker, the third, back healthy at running back so he can contribute to what's going on right there. All right. But the Seahawks don't look too bad. Kind of doing their thing. And right now, you're leading that division at 3-0. All right. So it's not looking bad for them. And good thing for them, because all the other three teams in the NFC West are 1-2. Because the Rams pulled a shocker. I did not see this coming because they are riddled with injury. I'm talking about they got injuries everywhere. Injuries everywhere on that roster. And some of these injuries are to very important players. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, the whole left side of the offensive line. They're already at their second and third string because the starters have already been hurt. I gave them zero shot of winning that game yesterday. Lo and behold, 49ers do their thing. And guess what? You can't blame it on Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy did his thing yesterday. I was one of the people that was like, hey, Brock, this is your game to show that you can be that guy, because there was no George Kittle. It was no CMC. It was no Debo Samuel. You know, he was perfectly fine with Juwan Jennings. He was perfectly fine with I guess an okay Brandon Ayuk. I don't know what's going on with Brandon Ayuk. The man gets paid, and then all of a sudden he's looking very pedestrian. But your man still almost threw for 300 yards, and a lot of it went to Juwan Jennings. So I'm going to start leaning towards that Brock Purdy is actually a damn good quarterback. He doesn't necessarily need all the weapons to make him be successful. Although they didn't get the win. I'm not putting this on Brock Purdy. I'm not putting this on the offense. I am looking squarely at the defense. How do you let a team with no Puka Nacua, with no Cooper Kupp, not really a threat at tight end position, really not a lot going on that side of the ball for the Rams, riddled with injuries, and you don't close the game out. I'm looking at the defense of the 49ers. Looking a little fraudulent, looking real shaky. I thought y'all were supposed to be one of the better teams in the NFC. Hell, the NFL. What's going on with this? What are you doing? What are you doing? Got to show up when it matters. You got to close that game out. Not only is that a division opponent, but that loss might come back and bite you in the butt. Come January, come playoff season, because now you're 1-2. You already lost to Minnesota, who looks really good right now. That's a bad loss, in my opinion. That's a bad loss. Lions and Cardinals. Lions get back in the winning sort of things. They're 2-1. Hey, man, that Cardinals team, I know they're 1-2, but I think they're just real scrappy. They might not be the most electric, best team in the NFL, but they've been putting up fights with everybody every week. They put up a fight with Buffalo week 1. They put up a fight with Detroit this week in week 3. They put a whooping on the Rams last week. So they're more scrappy than I thought. They might not be as scrappy as I thought they were. They're scrappy though. They really did. Hey, just gotta call a spade a spade. They look like they're going to make it a hard out for them to get beaten week in and week out, barring injuries, of course. But the Cardinals look like they're going to put up a fight every week. They're not a shoe-in. They're not a shoe-in W no more. They're going to put up a fight every week. That's what it looks like. And then, of course, Ravens and Cowboys. Ravens almost gave that game up. They almost went to 0-3. And we just got to call it spade a spade. They were up big. But how do you allow that comeback to really even get that game to get close down the stretch? That game should have been close. But I will say this. I see they figured out a little bit of what their identity should be. Oh, no surprise. Let's run the football. Of course you should. Derrick Henry, he gets 25 carries, 151 yards, 2 TDs. Of course, you add Lamar Jackson in there, 14 carries, 87 yards, and TD. I think what you should do is take less running plays from Lamar and give more Justice Hill running plays so that you don't get your quarterback hurt. Just saying, John Harbaugh, start overruling some of these play calls and say, hey, man, let me limit Lamar on some of these running plays. Let's actually use our running backs. I'm not saying get rid of it completely because that's the dynamic and electric part of having Lamar Jackson. He's such a person that you got to account for on the defensive side of the ball, and it makes you guess with that RPO. Of course, you let him have some of your designated running plays, but he don't need 14 carries to be effective. Let Justice Hill, let Derrick Henry, let the running backs do majority of the running back lifting. That's all. That's all I'm saying. He only threw the ball 15 times. He didn't throw it a lot. 12 of 15, 182 yards, TD. Hey, he did his thing. Say what you want, haters, about Lamar Jackson. He did what needed to be done. Got the ball to Nelson Aguilar on his one target for a big game for 56 yards. Same with Charlie Kohler. A big game right there. You got to find more consistency and production out of your wide receivers and your tight ends. I understand that part about Lamar Jackson's game, but he played a solid game yesterday. I'm looking more at the Cowboys. The Cowboys, man. Can we have a quick conversation? I was wrong. Here's what I was wrong about. I thought that the Cowboys should have made it a priority to pay Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb and figure out your quarterback otherwise. And don't commit to $60 million a year. Now, I'm still right about committing to $60 million a year on Dak because he hasn't played well. And I think that's not a fact. That's not a myth. Like 379 passing yards looks cool. Yeah. But let's be honest. A lot of that is coming from behind after you was getting your ass kicked. Here's the problem with the Cowboys. The running game is absolutely dead. Absolutely dead. And you just got ran over the guy that you should have acquired. You should be having Derrick Henry on your team. You didn't want to come off their bread. You go get Ezekiel Elliott. Cooked ass. Rico Dottle ain't it. Deuce Vaughn ain't it. All right, your running game is it ain't there. Point blank period. It ain't there. And it shows. But here's why I was wrong about who they should have prioritized on paying. Because I said they should have paid Micah Parsons. I can make a case on why you don't pay him. Look at this defense. It's not good with him. So why would you commit $33, $34, $35 million to a guy who's not moving the needle on how good or successful your defense is? Because that defense is not good. They're getting ran on each week. The ball has been just getting ran right down their throats each week. I mean, we just gotta be honest about it. I mean, the Ravens, like I said, ran it with great success. 274 yards to the Cowboys 51. Yeah, not good. Against that ass whooping against the Saints. Damn near the same thing. They gave up 190 yards, only got 68. Yeah, you're getting outrushed and you're just letting the team, you're not competing in the rushing. Now, granted, you win week 1. Good for you. Good for you. You actually ran for 102 yards, gave up 93. So but we got to be honest about that Browns game for the Cowboys. Browns shot themselves in the foot, had some bad penalties, had some turnovers. Deshaun didn't play well. But Dak hasn't really played well all season so far in these 3 weeks. He hasn't shown he's worth that $60 million. But I just got to be honest. Micah Parsons ain't done himself no justice of saying he deserves to get a big old paycheck neither. Because that defense is just not good with him on it. It's not. That's just a fact. They just getting ran through all just about every week. And that's with him on it. So we could talk about, oh, I deserve this and that. But come on, man. You ain't contribute to no good defense, man. So what are we talking about, Micah Parsons? You can huff and puff on the sideline all you want. But right now, I can't say that you've earned that big money. I can't. You think Panthers are killing young? They should have set him and let him develop. The problem is, Anthony, when he got drafted last year, he was the best quarterback they had in the room. He gave him the best chance to win as a rookie last year. So he didn't have a chance to sit down and learn. Now he does. He might actually come back better. And I'm not putting that win for the Panthers as the, I guess, direction that they're going. I just think that was an anomaly. I just think that the Raiders are so bad that they got to win yesterday. So I don't expect too much more winning. Yeah, and he was there last year. But I still don't think he was a better option at quarterback. He doesn't have Bryce Young's arm talent. He just doesn't. The only thing that Andy Dalton has over Bryce Young is experience. And I guess you could make a case to say that, hey, that should have been the reason why you make Andy play. But come on, man. Andy's turned himself into a journeyman. Number 1 picks play. Number 1 overall picks play against any journeyman, any team, any year. Just saying. But let's talk about get y'all ready for Monday Night Football before we get up out of here. Got about a minute left. Jacksonville, they need to win. Here's why they need to win. It's because you got to kill the noise. You can't go 0-3. And Trevor Lawrence actually has to have a good football game. He hasn't been playing well. He needs to have the good football game. He absolutely does. Because he has not been looking good at all. He needs to win. Jaguars need to win. Otherwise, go ahead and start counting them out as a playoff team. I didn't count them in as a playoff team to begin with. Definitely count them out. They go 0-3. And then you got Washington, Cincinnati. Hey, Cincinnati can't go 0-3. They can't. They absolutely can't. Jamar Chase has to have a bounce back game. Has to. Because you don't want that noise following the Bengals. So I expect Jaguars and Bengals to walk away with some dubs tonight. These are my predictions. That's just what it is. But y'all let me know. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about tonight's Monday Night Football picks with Jacksonville, Buffalo, Washington, Cincinnati. It's going to be great to see Jayden Daniels versus Joe Burrow, the 2 former LSU Tigers quarterbacks and Heisman Trophy winners go at it. Can't wait to see how that goes. But hey, doubleheader, Monday Night Football. We'll definitely recap both of those games on tonight's episode of the Late Night Hour Shift. So let me know what y'all think. Until then, hey, tap in with your boy, Wildcard Mar, right here on the Twitter page. And then make sure you follow all the I.O.W Sports Network content with all the information down below. Until then, it's been real. See y'all Thursday. And then I see my late night sports hour fans tonight, the late night edition. Until then, your boy Wildcard Mar, about you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of